Okay. Okay, we're back. We're back. We're back. I just broke my fast. It is calling the Audible. I'm here. Iggy's in Toronto, but he's only here for like 10 minutes here. Oh, can you guys hear me? Perfect. So as I was saying before, we're back. I just broke my fast. Iggy's in Toronto. He's joining me for 15 minutes. We got Brent Blocken on to talk about Div 6 and Coed. Div 6 and 35 plus. We got Larry with that coming on to talk about women's 2, Coed as well. And then Jeff Roseblatt for Div 1, Div 2. Iggy, won't keep you too long. How you been?
I am good. I'm laying down the FPF soils in Toronto here. I'm like Jeff Rosenblatt. I'm on a trip on a business trip for flag football.
Is that what you call a business trip, huh? I'm going to chew you out in our thread after the show. Chew you out
Okay,
for our
sure.
business trip. Okay, no problem. Okay, so let's get into it here, Iggs. Let's dive into 5A and 5B
Yeah, let's do it.
as we've agreed upon here. Uh, let's talk about the big one coming up this weekend. Nighthawks, Strap-aholics this Sunday. Who needs this game more? Because you think about it right now, they're both right now in the number 2, number 3 spots of the division. And a win by Nighthawks could get them back into play for first place. And for Strap-aholics, a win by them will put them back in that conversation for first place.
You're giving me a softball here, Mo. A very easy question to start the night. This one is clearly a bigger game, and for Nighthawks, they definitely need the game more. Why? Strapaholics have had the tougher schedule between the two, and Strapaholics, sure, one loss, but so do Nighthawks. But again, tougher schedule for Strapaholics. They're coming off a 33 to 32 victory over the Rico Riders. And not only that, Nighthawks are a bit of a newer team meshing together. Strapaholics have that experience of 5+ seasons, I want to say, under their belt. And then, of course, adding Matt Kirawak, the veteran of all veterans, to their squad. So Nighthawks definitely a lot more to prove that the chemistry is building and ongoing. Strapaholics a lot more of a solid, sound foundation to their franchise. So this one's clearly and easily more important for Nighthawks.
I think it's Nighthawks that need this game more because
I
remember this
just said
team
that.
was well. I'm saying I think for me, from my perspective,
Yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
I need Nighthawks to be the team here because I think from where they were, the reincarnation of this team from a couple years ago when they first came to FPF, they were the wrong division, right? They got blown out, kind of lost their way, and didn't really know what they were doing initially. And remember, they lost the first game against the Ducks back in week
Mm-hmm.
1 at Loyola. Where they
Yep.
were outclassed. And I said, good old same old Nighthawks, right? They're going to be the same team that's going to go 2-8, get blown out, be competitive. Nice guys, right? But I think now they finally found the right tonic with Fab Robillard being the quarterback, and he's had a good season so far, being efficient with 22 touchdowns, 3 INTs. You look at their offense right now; it's more balanced attack than what it was before, when they would always be one target, one target, one target to one player. And look, they're doing it in a way, Iggs, that it's not the most sexiest style of play, but it gets them the wins. And now they're in that firm conversation, Nighthawks, that they could perhaps wreck the top 2, get themselves the number 2 spot going towards playoffs when that begins in a month's time.
Yeah, it would be huge for them for sure. The other thing, I like at the end of the day, come on, I'm an offensive guy. Offense is going to win you games in FPF. Strapaholics with the better offense, but I will say Nighthawks defense, 74 points allowed. That is something serious. Definitely got them a lot of the wins this season, but at the end of the day, the offense is what wins you championship and playoff games in FPF. So definitely a bigger game for Nighthawks.
The only downfall is those numbers, man. If you look at the screen, I have the team photo up for Nighthawks. They have a white uniform with gold outline numbers. Very tough to read on the numbers here. But again, just to mention, just to go to our next point here for the next question here. Right now, if you look at their defensive stats as we speak, 5 pick sixes so far this season, and they are approaching, I think, over 20 INTs this year, with DeSeta with 6 already this season for this Nighthawk team. So hey, it could be one turnover, it could be 2 turnovers that can happen on the weekend. But that's a big one because that will definitely give us a better idea who will be your number 2 seed, and maybe, just maybe, a chance at the number 1 spot going towards the final couple weeks of the season.
Yep.
So we were talking about battles here. Rico Rios and Tori CIG. It's a mid-table battle coming up this next week. That is next Tuesday. Um, Whoever loses this game, how much does this hurt their seeding? Because they're both tight in the numbers of wins and losses, and a loss by one of these teams can really drop them down a little bit below the mark that they're at right now.
Yeah, a slightly tougher question, but still easy overall, Mo. It clearly it will affect Notorious CIG more. The a loss would put them at 3-5-1 with only one more game remaining. Rico Riders, of course, if they win that game, would bring them to 4-3 with still three more games under their belt, where they could go, 2-1, 1-2. But the point being, there's more opportunity to gain points in with three games remaining versus Notorious CIG's one. Of course, Rico Riders, like I just mentioned, coming off a 1 point loss to now the 7-1 Strap-aholics. So they've shown that they can hang in with the best of them. Definitely, Notorious CIG needs the win more than Rico Riders here this weekend.
Well, that's it, right? You mentioned before that Rico Riders have 4 more games left, more runway to work with. And if you're Notorious CIG, if you were to lose this game and drop to 3-5-1 with 1 game to go, you're safe in the playoffs. I think they're going to be okay to get to that point. But you might end up though, Iggs, in a bad playoff matchup um,
Yeah.
early on than say later on.
Yeah.
You have to go through teams no matter how you look at it, but it's the order of how you go through it.
Yeah.
Not saying you want to make it easy as possible, but you want to have the more serene route getting towards the finals. So I think this is massive for CIG because if they don't win this game, Rico Rise is a team that has a lot of experience playing in FPF with the cast of characters on that roster. They can definitely make a move, and I'm not saying they're going to win the next 4 here, Rico Rise, but if they do win the next 3 out of 4, they will probably be your top 6, top 7 team going towards playoffs.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd even say you might be looking at the 8-9 seed. As low as 9, maybe even
Yeah.
as low as 10. But yeah, overall, yeah.
So we look at it now with Vice City. A close win over Thunderblaze on Monday at Hebert, 27-26. So two-parter here. Is Vice City safe now for playoffs? And is Thunderblaze in trouble going towards their final few games of the regular season?
So let's start with Vice City here. Save for a playoff spot or not. So let's take a look at the remaining games here. You got Vice City. Yeah, week
LPC.
12. Yeah, going up against LPC, the still undefeated Pizzicato.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
so. 8-0. So
Yep.
definitely tough matchup there. Next up, West Island Habibis, not an easy team to go up against with Nick DeMalo at quarterback, Sam Anastopoulos, Samantha DeMalo, I believe, snapping for the team. Another tough out, not as tough necessarily as Le Pizzicato, but I'd say West Island Habibis are likely the favorite, maybe like a 5 point favorite even. And then you end the season off with Sleeping All Stars. I've seen this team on numerous occasions, 2 or 3 times now, and that is a very, very good Division 5 team. So Vice City definitely got a huge victory over Thunder Buddies, but they are not safe for a playoff spot. They could potentially end the season 0-3, putting them at 3-7, and that is going to be right on the cusp for a playoff spot. So definitely not safe for Vice City.
I think they are safe. I think they are safe because A Squad's running out of racetrack, and they beat A Squad, and they beat Thunder Buddies, right? Those are the 2 teams chasing them for
Fair.
a spot in theory, right?
Yeah.
So if they were end up in a head-to-head tiebreaker with one of these teams, they jump them no matter what. So I think they're okay. You're right. The last 3 games are tough. Don't know if they get any wins out of that, but I think 3 is the cutoff to get that 50+1 pass mark to get in the playoffs here. So I think they're okay, and I think they'll be fine. And then from there, it depends on matchups. But look, they got some good dudes on that team that can play, and we know them very well from years past and how they played. Now for Thunderbirds though, they're 2-4. They still have 4 games to play, but are they in trouble? Because I think they are. after losing to Vice City.
How's the air quality in Montreal, Mo? It seems like whether it's the armpit of Montreal or the basement there, I believe that you're in, it's always a little tougher on. Or is it the fasting? Is everything? Can we just blame everything on the fasting? Is that how these things work?
If you want, yeah, sure. I mean, look, I'm just trying to get some
No,
beer.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Of course.
I've been eating 18 hours.
Yeah. No, look, Thunder Buddies, I'm not as worried. Again, like you said, a lot of racetrack for them to work with here. And then you look at their remaining schedule, a weaker, this could have been the Vultures Light edition because it's definitely not the regular Vultures franchise here.
Yeah.
They look susceptible all season. I'd go advantage Thunder Buddies there. Super Troopers, decent team here in Division 5A, but I still like what Thunder Buddies bring there. That's a bit of a coin flip for me. Fine. Make it a loss if you just to make things interesting here. I think they have the advantage over Pasta Rabiat. They do have Joe Morghese back though, wanting to make playoffs here, so he's going to get those minimum 5 games, or at least he's trying to. So definitely a better squad in PA, but Thunder Buddies I'd still say are slight favorites there. And then they finish off against Rude Boys, which again tough-ish matchup, but I still like what Thunder Buddies present as a team overall. I'd say across the board, better they're the better team and should come out victorious in each and one of those games. I'll toss up. I'll give it to Super Troopers. Maybe even Pasta. The point being, they can go. I see at least 2 wins in the remaining 4 games, and with 2 wins, brings them to 4 for the season, 8 points. So I think that should be good enough for Thunder Buddies to make playoffs.
Well, here's the thing, right? Let's just say Thunder Buddies run the table and they get 3 wins. That Rude Boys game is the last game of the year on April 13th. Could be a playing game.
Yep, absolutely.
Because Rude Boys they're kind of lingering, but again they're so unpredictable with their offense, and what they run. You don't know what you're going to get. So I think in reality, that could be the game that could get one of these teams a playoff spot here. I think if Rude Boys get one more win now, they're safe. But at 3, as you said before, that cutoff could be very slippery right now for them going towards the final 2 games of the regular season for Rude Boys if they glitch up and somehow Thunder Buddies catch up to them in the win-loss numbers.
Yeah, I think overall though the theme is the that battle for those last playoff spots and clinching scenarios. They're very fascinating in Division 5A for sure.
So let's go to flip 5B here. Maccabees, they're going to play 3 games in 7 days to wrap up this
That's
season.
that's
Um,
insane.
it's wild. Like it's how unorthodox we are in FPF with how many
Yeah.
games are being played right now. But you look at it right now. Are we going to learn a lot about this team because they're a top 4 team right now, still undefeated, 5 wins. They do get Win Diesel, I believe, towards the end of the season,
Yeah.
and they get Top G and they get Packing Packers. So how much will we learn about this team here going towards the final 3 games if we believe they might be a contender or just a pretender?
I think you're trying to egg me on to say that we're gonna like see and learn a lot about them. I don't think so.
Hmm.
I think we know what we know with this Maccabees team through 7 games, and I think they're gonna lose to Win Diesel, and there's no shame in that. But they're gonna be competitive in that game. If anything, out of the 3 remaining games, that's the one I'm most interested in. Is how competitive, how close do they keep that score and give themselves a fighting chance to, maybe win it on the last drive of the game. Maybe this might be a game where they've muddied down the water, kept it to like a 6 possession game each team, and coming down with the final possession, maybe even trying to score on the final play to win this game. So definitely that's the game I'm looking out for them. But otherwise, if they beat Top G, yeah, I expect them to beat Top G, so I'm not going to learn much there. And then, sure, Packing Packers would be how do you eliminate a top threat in the division in Felix Boutte, right? He has this outstanding elite speed on the field. How do you neutralize that particular, weapon that some teams have in Division 5B? So,
Right.
you know, I'm the thing is, I'm not gonna learn too much about them. Maybe against Win Diesel, But again, last game of the season, they at least have a comfort knowing that it's quote unquote a meaningless game in terms of playoff seeding. They've pretty much clinched a playoff seeding somewhat unofficially. So it'll be good to see how they play with a sort of carefree style in terms of not being stressed. But that, if anything, I'm learning something there against Win Diesel.
So I'll say this about Maccabees: they'll have the toughest strength of schedule. The three opponents that they have lined up here are 17-6 now, going
Mm-hmm.
towards the final three. I believe this is a good referendum for them to see how they stack up because you're playing you're playing two teams in the top five, right? And you're playing a packing Packers team that's going to be in the playoffs, but still has a chance to be a top eight, maybe top seven team going towards playoffs. And this could very well be a playoff matchup for the Migs at some point, right? Whether it be
Mm-hmm.
first round, second round, whatever it might be at that point. But Jimmy Collins has played well enough as a quarterback for this team. Their defense is dynamic. They bring that cutting edge that you want from the defense. They have a lot of panache to work with, and I think now moving towards the final three games here. I'm not saying they have to beat Win Diesel because Win Diesel is in its own stratosphere right now with what they've done. But I
Yeah,
think you want to send that warning shot to Win Diesel that if we do meet up in the playoffs, it's not going to be easy playing against us,
exactly.
whether it's in the third round, the fourth round, or the finals of 5A, 5B going towards early May.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. And I will just final thoughts with Maccabees. The offensive numbers scare me a little. No receivers at 200 yards yet. I don't particularly like offenses that have like one guy at 500 yards and everyone else at like 70. But and I actually tend to like offenses that distribute the ball, which they do, but you need the distribution to be at this point in the season. I would have liked to have seen two guys with 250 receiving yards and then the other three with 100. That would make me a little more comfortable. But and then my other point with them is they did come off a big win over Betway Bandits, right? That was a
Yeah.
team that you mentioned that they're facing two teams in the top five right now, but at 5-2, Betway Bandits were one of the top five teams at the time, right? And had they lost that game, Betway Bandits would be sitting at 6-2. So they technically did beat a top five team at the time that they played them. So just noting that.
All right. Final two questions. Then you got to go eggs, and we got Lori in the on deck circle here. Um, Les Tendeurs, this team, they're 5-4. I saw them play early on.
Hmm.
High flying offense. Are we undervaluing this team at this point of the year where maybe they might be the best value to have going towards the playoffs?
I think so. I actually caught pretty much all of the game. I'd say at least 80% of it against this Packing Packers team on Saturday night. It was a game that was right after mine, so stuck around Saturday night to check it out. And I had seen them before, but I hadn't seen them play a full game. And it was actually a really good Division 5B team, Division 5B game. And Les Tondeurs, they have all the elements that you need in a team that can go on a championship run. They have a stifling defense that and it's actually kind of funny. They have like the entire defensive on the sideline when the offense comes on. They have a competent quarterback. They can make all the throws that you need to out there. Has the ability to escape the rush and go for big runs to kind of give some dynamism to the offense and a second look for defenses. And like this is yes. So yes, to answer your question, we are definitely undervaluing this team. They're only sitting at 5-4. I'm not sure what happened in the rest of their games throughout the season, but this is a dangerous team. And again, when you have a competent quarterback and good defense, those are two scary elements for any team to face off against in the playoffs, and that's what Les Tondeurs have for sure.
Yeah, I like them as I think they're going to go 2 rounds in the playoffs. I think they're going to pull off a win against an established team in the 5B hierarchy. They have a great deep ball, a very explosive offense. Like when you look at 20 yards, I wish we tracked that 20-yard explosive plays. They are
Mm-hmm.
up there in terms of explosive plays that they have with their offense to work with. And I'm not saying it's going to be the passport to victory, but they definitely will make some noise. I think they can definitely win two playoff games until they hit like the meat of the big hitters, right? Whether it is going to play Win Diesel or Maccabees, or whoever they might get at that point. So I think they're undervalued, but I think it's a great play to have at this point. Last question to you before you get to Larry. Retired All Stars are 2-6. Are they done?
Retired ulcers at 2-6. I mean, you didn't set yourself up in good position at taking the L this past week. But look, they're fighting their playoff lives with kicking assets. I believe Retired All Stars is a better team than them overall. Uh, I don't think they have to worry about the hooligans, even though they have, the hooligans have 2 games more over retired All Stars.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about Brewers catching them up. So the teams below them, I'm not too worried about them superseding our retired All Stars. If I take a look at their 2 remaining games, that's the only thing, right? They only have 2 games left to work with. Man, I'm looking at a game against Green Monster. While retired All Stars offense is decent enough to score 20, 25, maybe even 30 in any given game, man, against Green Monster, a notoriously great defense. Sure, with Pat Jason, a little banged and bruised up, still a very, very competent and very, I'd say one of the upper echelon defenses in Division 5B. That makes it all so much harder. I'm going to predict something like them being able to score 12, 14, maybe 18 points. So that one's going to be a bit of a muddy game. Who has the ball last, who can make a turnover on the last drive of the game. And then you're going up against Ramfins. Like, this is a team that has won championships in Division E in last spring. They've gone on deep playoff runs. Man, this is really tough for retired All Stars. They would have to. Let's see if they played kicking assets. They lost to them, so this is a really, really, they really tough out for them if they need a win. They're gonna have to somehow squeak out an ugly win against Green Monster because Green Monsters, as good as their defense is, their offense is sluggish and not as competent and as good looking as their defense. So man, they're gonna need to squeak out a win against a pretty ugly one against Green Monster, and then hope that kicking assets can don't win any of their remaining games.
Go have fun in Toronto, Iggs. We'll see you next week, dude.
Booed, dude. I
Yeah.
am out making the airwaves come through Toronto for FPF.
Yeah, go have fun on your business trip there.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. Be
All
good.
right,
Thanks so much,
bye.
Iggs.
See you.
All right, Iggy Magnet's on with us. As now we're joined in the tarmac onto the runway we go as we're. I know Nightingale. See, Nightingale, I'm trying to set it up here, right? I'm buying you time here to set up the arrival of Laurie, who will be on with us in a couple seconds here, as she's on the tarmac ready to take off on this show. As we'll break down women's two with her, going towards what has been a very unique season this year for women's two because of how close the standings are with the top 5, top 7, even top 8 of the women's two division right now overall. And one loss can drop you down. So let's bring in our superstar, Laurie Willette. Laurie, Rudy, how you been? All is
I've
well?
been I've been doing good, and you?
You look so nervous. I'm not even next to you. You look nervous. What's wrong?
No, because there was a little m- my mic wasn't working at the beginning, so I was a bit nervous, but we're all good. We're all set up.
Yeah, but I bring you anxiety for no reason. Like you bring me
Let's
anxiety,
you
Mo.
you do,
It's true though.
because you're more
It's
calm.
true.
I never know what to expect.
Anyway, Rudy, let's dive into it here. First things first. Okay, so your team, kiss my boots,
Yeah.
had a very close win over the weekend, winning 84-0.
Yes, very close.
Um, do you guys feel bad scoring 84 points against a team that was over after the first few drives?
Uh, yes, I actually do feel bad because if I put myself in their position, like I don't think being scored on and having getting intercepted 12 times in a game would be fun. So yes, I feel bad for how the game went because I don't think they had fun. I don't think it was that great of a game for them. So no, I feel bad for how much we scored. I mean, a game is a game. We can't do anything about it, but it's pretty bad.
I'll say this: if you had played in the game, you guys would have scored only 30 points.
Wow, I thought you were going the other way.
No, 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 Rudy, come on. I can never do that. I can never
All
throw
right.
roses at you, rose petals at you
Yeah, I can see
for
that.
doing
I'll
what you
remember
do.
it.
Please do so. I know you're a little bit banged up right now, but hopefully you'll feel better
Yeah.
as well. Let me ask you this though. Women's two has been very close this season in terms
Yes.
of the top end, right? We're talking
Yeah.
about Hibu two, your team, Cavaliers, Patriot CSL, Red Nation,
Yeah.
Caribbeans has been very competitive, Trappers as well. Do you think the best team in women's two could beat the worst team in women's one today?
I think I believe they could. I think there's a great chance because there's a lot of teams that I would feel they could have their place in women's one. I don't think they would win them all, but I think the competitiveness between, like, example, I'd say Carababe, they play a bit more rough. They're more challenging to play against. So if you put them in women's one, I'm sure they could win some. It's gonna be a close game and everything. So yeah, I believe some of the teams could win some of the losing teams in women's one.
See, I was thinking about it because I know women's one's a smaller division, and it's the
Yeah.
quality of the women's league right now, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. But I was thinking, I go, there's some teams that I've seen from afar whenever I score keep, whether it's Hebert or elsewhere, that I go, yeah, you know what, they can definitely hang with the best of them. And like
Of
a team like
course.
Hibu and Hibu two, I know Hibu two lost, which one was it, the loss of our nation? It's there's a lot of
One or the
parity.
other.
Right, there's
Yeah.
a lot of parity. Right, like CSL Patrick beat Red Nation, right? You
Yeah.
guys lost by whatever it was to Red Nation, but everyone's
Yeah.
beating each other, and it's become so close that I think in women's two right now, I still don't know who the true favorite is. If you agree with that point or not, going towards the final three games of the season.
I do agree because it's a very close call between every game. Like, say we won against some teams and when other teams lost against them, and then say we lost against Red Nation, but Patriot, CSL, they won against them. So I think it really depends on the days, and I think we're all very close in terms of how we play each other.
So if you took away your allegiance to your team right now,
Yes.
who is the best team in women's two?
I'd have to go with Ibu because one of them because I think they're playing really well, but I've never actually seen them play. So if I would base my answer on a team I saw, I'd go for Patriot CSL. Patriot, they're doing extremely good right now. I know it's not the same roster every single game, but I'm sure if they keep like one roster with all their best players, they could win it all for sure. They have great athletes on that team.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I think you look at their defense, right? I mean,
Yes.
Um, I know they lost last week to Trapper last Sunday, but they shut out Red Nation, which was hot at the time with their offensive output. Fit Squad only scored 12 points.
Yeah.
Valhalla only scored 19 points. The Petit Miette scored only 12 points. So you get my point, right? Like they're not giving up many points.
No.
So would you trust a team that has a better defense than an offense in women's to win football games than, say, in the adult league where you have to win with points? But in women's, could the defense be the key to winning matchups now?
If defense is able to turn over the ball or even get pick sixes and score on defense, I would 100% take a good defense over anything.
So would you say so the Patriots are sort of that sneaky good team right now that could
Yes.
upset a team or two along the way?
100%. Like, because I know like it's different for that team because every week the roster changes, but they're sneaky. They could get the wins in. They could, yeah, with Litzia on defense, she's getting tons of interceptions and tackles and everything. She's a weapon. So if playing against that team is really, you have to look out for them. They have great athletes.
But is that a good or bad thing? From the chemistry perspective, though, that your roster, as you can see right now with this team, they have like 85 million players on the roster. That yeah, you're doing well, but you might not have the right um, recipe of
Lineup.
players on at the same time to win those football games when we hit playoffs.
No, I agree because basically it's their whole team from their CJEP team basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're changing the roster here and there, whoever's available. But for sure, if because I know AJ is their coach, if AJ would put a lineup and like put the players where they need, like key players in the team, and keep it as is, they could go far, and they could be recipe for disaster for sure.
Well, you look at it right now. Laurie, the top end is pretty much set, right? It's
Yeah.
more now the bottom of the
Yeah.
division where the unknown is there and who may or may not make playoffs.
Yeah.
So Valhalla, Cheetahs, they're
Yes.
both 1-6 right now. They're both one game out from a playoff spot with Dream Killers and Wolfpack
Yeah.
occupying the last two spots. Does one or both make the playoffs going towards April?
I think Valhalla has more of a chance of going into the playoffs. Like I'm seeing the stats right now, and the QB for that team, she has a little less sacks in a game and a little bit, well, same amount of touchdowns and everything. But for sure, I think they have a greater chance of going. I've seen the Cheetahs defense. I've played against them. It's a bit confusing at times. So if they want to make it like up a notch, they have to maybe talk more on defense and be a little like so they know what they do. So I think Valhalla has more of a chance of making it to the green area of the schedule.
Aren't you a Vanier alum?
I am.
So shouldn't you be like praising your cheetahs?
I play for one season. I can't say anything or
So if you ever watch NFL, I don't know if you do or not, but when they have like players introduce themselves, like Tom Brady, Michigan University.
yeah.
So if you were to introduce yourself, Laurie Ouellette, what school would you say then? Vanier or a different school?
You know what? I go for FPF League.
Look at you, eh? Coddling to the FPF logo as you would normally do. I'll say this though. Okay. Um, I think Valhalla has Alex Laroche as the coach, which makes a
Yes.
big difference.
Yes.
Whereas Vanier, not saying that they need a coach or not, but I think that they're a little bit lean in terms of the experience level. They don't have the same experience. So when you look at their
Very
final games that they have left, they're going to play their big sisters, Red Nation.
yeah,
Red Nation's probably going to crush them, I think.
for
The
sure.
Petit Miette, I don't see them beating them at all. And they get
No.
Cavaliers to end off the year. I
No,
don't see them getting any wins in those three because all
no.
three are playoff caliber and even championship level teams that can go far
Yeah.
this season.
It's on the same they're not on the same level, we could say.
No, no. I think that's why I think Valhalla has a chance to go. I think they have X and X on their schedule and a couple other games as well. But
For sure.
I just don't think Cheetahs have enough bandwidth to go as far as they
No.
want.
Not this season.
No, no, not this season at all. Not at all. Exactly. Coed two.
Yes.
You play in this league, Coed two.
Yes.
Uh, our Kiss My Christmas balls, the best team in Coed two.
I'd say yes. I think as a QB, Brady is doing really well. He has some experience and he has studs of players. He has a Jerome Hovington, which he can make plays, offense and defense. So yeah, I'd say Brady's doing a really good job at putting some touchdowns and score on the board.
Oh, and you're seeing, yeah, he has a good season with what he's done: 33 touchdowns, 4 INTs. He might be your quarterback of the year.
Yeah,
Hovington's had a fabulous year: 16 touchdowns,
amazing.
446 yards. But what about McNuggies or McNuggies or whatever they're called? Iggy says McNuggies. I say McNuggies. I always think of Nuggies when I think of that, right?
Yeah,
They're kind of lurking behind them though in this division in terms of how they are. And right now, if you look at their standings as you speak, Laurie, this is a team that is second place at 6-2. They
yeah,
probably won't catch kiss my Christmas balls for first place,
yeah.
but could they be a team that gives them the best shot of maybe winning Coed two?
Yes, I completely agree. Like I know Kiss My Christmas Balls is a good team. Yeah, they have a good QB, but in terms of like an overall team, I'd say McNuggies would be my top pick as the QB is using his female players a lot. So he's not only mostly throwing to his male players or anyone like he's using his female players. They're getting lots of targets, touchdowns, they're making plays. So in terms of teams, the team spirit, I'd go for McNuggies. I agree with you. They're not maybe gonna go. They're not gonna have more wins than Kiss My Christmas Balls, but they have a high chance of going to the finals.
Uh, IG team two.
Yes.
They're struggling right now. They're
Yeah.
they're now 1-5-1, I believe.
Yeah.
They're only a point behind 16th place for the last playoff spot. Do you give them a chance to maybe sneak in as the last playoff team? Because their last three games, Laurie, they get the Flash,
Oh.
Ballhard University, that's 0-4 right now, and they get
Yeah.
Team Meow Meow to end off the season.
Uh, honestly, uh, if they would have a chance in the playoffs, it would be I think Bal Profond is the one on top of them. If
Yeah.
they would lose a game, and the IG team would be winning one, maybe team against Team Meow Meow, then they would have a chance. But other than that, it's not the best season. They're trying it out, like it's fine, but having a QB that's starting up, it's difficult, and we could see
Not
it.
easy. Not easy at
No.
all. Okay, so what about your team, Pass Whoopin?
Yes.
Led by your homeboy, C-Riv, Chris Rive.
Yes.
He's put up some video game numbers this season with 38 touchdowns, almost 1,600 yards passing.
Yeah.
You guys sit pretty at 5-2 with 3 games to go.
Yeah.
How is the vibe like with this team and the belief that maybe you guys could be a Coed 2 contender for the championship this season?
I mean, it's going really well. Like I know, like compared to other teams, we have a lot of chemistry. We played together as a whole team for like over a year now. So like Chris knows his players a lot. He knows where they're gonna end up. He knows the plays that we are able to do, and that's gonna work every time. So we have a really good chemistry, and then we brought Emerson and Joey Notaro and Ariane Boucher also on our team, which is an absolute difference maker. Like her as a snapper, she can make plays. I think like she got 3 or 4 touchdowns in a game a couple of games ago, so
Yeah.
she's really good. No, we're doing well. We'd have to win more games to get up there, but it's still a challenge. We never know what could happen.
Okay, we've been talking, you and I, about waffles
Yes.
the last few weeks. And I was thinking to myself the other day, I forgot to ask Rudy, do you put anything on your waffles like strawberries, chocolate syrup, blueberries, bananas, maple syrup? What is your choice of condiment on your waffles?
Fruits for sure, and I think it's called crème anglaise,
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken. I know, I
oh.
love that stuff. Yeah.
So
What would
are
be your
you
choice?
someone that is an Eggo waffle, or from the scratch? You make it like from scratch, and we put it in a waffle maker, and we do it like
From the
that.
scratch? Always better homemade.
Yeah, I know, of course, but I don't know. Sometimes people like Eggo waffles, right? Because it's right there. You put it in your toaster and bam.
Yeah,
What?
it's easy to make, yeah, but it's just the texture and different. It's a different taste.
So how many waffles can you scoff down? If we
Off.
if because we're planning to do a waffle get together, you and I, and maybe some
Yeah.
others as well. So if we sat down at a restaurant for waffles, how many you are devouring?
I mean, they're pretty big and thick, so I'd say two with all the fruits and stuff. Not more than two. How much would you eat?
Man, you know what? I
Uh,
don't know, Rudy. I don't. It depends on foods for me, because for me, if I work out, I'll be hungry, obviously to eat.
yeah, obviously.
But I don't know. It depends on my moods. Really, it really depends on my moods. What I want to eat. People think I don't eat much, but I do eat a lot. But I eat them more in kind of in condensed numbers here. So I
Yeah,
probably could
exactly.
have like, if I was coming in with like an empty stomach, hungry and determined, I could probably eat like five, six.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're not the
Yeah, I
same.
can do that. I can do
We're
that.
not
I
built the
mean,
same.
I've devoured pizzas, in like 5 minutes, in medium sized pizzas. So I can do
Oh
that for
yeah,
sure.
didn't you do like something on a podcast where you
We
were
did,
eating?
we did, we did the
You lost,
Eagle,
right?
yeah, Eagle, Iggy and I. Eagle brought in these pizzas from somewhere in RDP, and I finished it, but they were like, "Oh no, you didn't finish the crust." I go,
Crust.
guys, come on, seriously, like I finished the pizza. Don't be crying on me and stuff like
It's
that
part
as
of the
well.
pizza, Mo.
Whatever. Anyway, Rudy, before I let you go, I know you're doing some stuff for FPF, social media stuff with Chris Rive. Anything in the works for us to know that you, Chris, and the crew have lined up in the final few weeks of the season?
He hasn't given me much news lately about the FPF videos coming out, but I know like there's a lot of highlights and game of the weeks coming out soon. So just keep looking for that on the Instagram. There's always posts coming here and there with a great quality camera from Chris. So always look out for that.
See, Rudy, nothing to be worried about. I didn't scare you today. I didn't do anything to make you nervous. You seem so
Yeah, you
tense right
can't
now.
scare me.
Yeah, but I can do it anytime I want. Like I have like highlights of you. Like remember when you're like, "Did you there?" You couldn't get the words out, and then when you were trying to give me
Oh
a
no,
lecture about scaring you, and I still tricked you, and you still fell for it, and there was that.
it's still on Instagram.
You fell in the school bag, which I didn't catch, unfortunately, not.
I'm so happy you didn't.
That would have been epic. And then of course you were doing the video talking about spring season, and you had to do cut. You said "f you" to me in a quiet tone because you thought I was making you nervous. There's that. What else have I done to you? Oh, spring fall cup. When you're locked in, I scared you 2 weeks ago when you were
Oh
filming. We have
yeah,
a highlight. We could do like a top 10 over here of Rudy moments here of being
top
scared
10
of
of the
stuff.
best
So
moments.
we could do it. I'll get the C-Riv and C-Riv put it together, right? And then I got that Madden cover of you when you dropped the ball like this.
Oh no, you kept that.
Oh, we have that one. We have so many highlights of you, Rudy. I mean, we can do a whole collage,
Don't expose me like that, Mo.
Oh, we'll definitely do it. I'm gonna send it to C-Rev. He's gonna put it together. It'll be an FPF reel for those to like it.
Oh my goodness. Nah, that's gonna be embarrassing.
It'll never be embarrassing, Rudy. All right, Roots. Thanks so much as
Yes,
always, and we'll
thank
talk soon.
you.
Okay. Bye.
Of course,
Waffle
bye.
soon. Be good.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. That is Logan Willette. Just waiting for Jeff Rosenblatt to join us as he. Yeah, we're joined with Jeff Rosenblatt to talk about Div 1, Div 2 as he's on his way. Nightingale, you confirmed to me that you spoke to Jeff already? Okay, perfect. Excellent, no problem. I know he's driving around as he always is. We'll ask him his top 5 restaurants that he likes, or top 3 restaurants in Montreal that he likes. We'll talk Div 1, Div 2 with him. Brent Bachman joins us just after 8 o'clock here on CTA. Just a few reminders out there for those who have not figured it out yet. First and foremost, uniforms. It's important that you guys have uniforms that are the same color or within the same color of what you wear with the proper numbers. So that means no marker, no taped numbers, no marker numbers, nothing like that. Proper numbers. If you don't have that, you're going to get docked a game in stats, and that's going to hurt for playoff numbers. Number 2, captains, please check your rosters every week to make sure that your games played for your roster is up to date. If it's not, we can look at it, but it has to be within that date of question. So it can't be from January. It's got to be within range of now the last 2 weeks of March going towards April. That's important. Spring season registration is going to open up very shortly. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. We'll have that open up very soon. And we will have 5-on-5 this spring, which is now the new Olympic sport for 2028 in LA. And there's more and more growth in that department. 6-on-6 will still be there. I assure you that. But 5-on-5 is something now that's going to be tested by us this spring to see how this reacts with our FPF community. And so you have the option of playing 6-on-6 or 5-on-5, whatever fits your desire. And if you do like both, hey, play both. If you like one, go for one. If you like the other, doesn't matter. It's all about giving you options to test it out and see how it is moving forward. Hebert, moving forward now, the width of the field will no longer be from the blue line as we've played for many years to the whatever part you are on the field. It is going to be 30 yards, 30-yard width right now going towards what it is. And last but not least, the playoff schedule is available for winter season. So go to your division, check out your playoff schedule, and click on the playoff tab. It'll give you the dates of when your games could very well be moving forward as well. So, like I said, a few things to look at, house cleaning to look at. Spring season not far away. Registration will open up very soon. I would imagine towards early April. That's going to be the target date. Can't give you the exact date, but that'll be the target window. And then 5-on-5, 6-on-6 will be available for spring season. And can't wait to bring that in. I think May 12th or somewhere around that area, we're going to open up the spring season. Let's bring in someone who's not driving today. I thought he would be driving, but he's not. Jeff Rosenblatt in, I guess, the man cave of the Rosenblatt compound. Is that where you are?
I am currently in the man cave with one of my buddies who was an ex-FPF player. I'll keep his name nameless, but we're going to be watching some of the March Madness and doing some podcasting.
Now, who's up? Is Wagner up or is Howard up right now?
Who's up, Wagner or Howard right now?
Wagner.
You can talk.
Wagner.
Wagner's winning? Wagner's up 11. Yeah,
You
up
know,
11 at half.
we got two Montrealers in the tournament. We got Tyrese Samuel with Florida, and we got Quincy Guerrier with Illinois, and a couple of the Montrealers as well sprinkled in there. So keep an eye out for Illinois and Florida this year for the tournament.
I got you. We're big tournament guys. Thursday to Sunday. We're in the basement all day long. So it's good times. Good
Yeah,
week ahead.
productivity won't be as efficient on a normal 9 to 5 workday for you boys.
That
for
is
Thursday and
correct.
Friday.
That is correct.
All right, Jeff, we saw each other Saturday. We're talking about food. So I want to ask you your top 3 Montreal restaurants, your go-to spots that you would go bring your wife or your buddy or whoever you go with on a Saturday night is what?
That's a good one. All right. I'm going to go number 1 right now for me is a restaurant called Fishbone.
Oh, no. Number 3 to number 1.
I ruined
Fishbone. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I'll start with number 3.
That's all right.
Okay, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 because I already number 1 is Fishbone. They have a few dishes that I love. There's some sashimi, some sushi dishes. Absolutely delicious. Very good drinks. They actually have a delicious dessert also. So anyone that needs recommendations on dishes there, just have them reach out. Number 2, because I love steak. Give me 40 West. It's the one that's coming to mind right now over Ribbon Reef, which I think is a little overpriced. It used to be Moish's for me for cultural reasons, but give me 40 West. They have a good tuna dish, good steaks. Yeah, exactly. And number 3, there's a small Italian restaurant in Little Italy called Cafe Dante. Very few people know. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people know about it. It's delicious. It makes me think that there's a lot of 95-year-old short Italian women in the basement there cooking. That's how authentic it feels. So give me Cafe Dante as number 3, and I have about a million more, but we'll start with those. Exactly.
We'll do 4, 5, 6 next week. How about that?
Love it.
Excellent. All right, Div 1. If I know we can't say it's official now, but if Kevin Wyatt takes time off for the remainder of the season, could the All-Stars still finish in the top 3 of Div 1 in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, we were there. We saw Kev play that game. His arm just looked like he was in so much pain the whole game, which for me he's one of my mentors. So for me, it hurts personally. But to answer your question, no, I don't think so. Even with the roster that they have, which is arguably, if not the best, tied for the best, Kevin brings such an impact to the game that in my opinion, there's no quarterback that can replicate it. He has the type of chemistry with the Pat Jeromes of the world. He's been playing with Bond forever. Rory a few seasons, obviously with Maddie, but I think they potentially lose a game or two if he has to sit, because always bringing a new quarterback, especially in Division 1, they don't have the chemistry with the guys. So just to keep the answers short, I think they're in serious danger of losing one of those top 3 spots if Kevin takes the last 2 games off.
Yeah, they don't play for 3 weeks, which is good news for Kevin because it allows him to rest up his shoulder. But they get Flagmois-Sac and then KGP back-to-back nights, which is going to be tough, right? Because now you're going to put the true test his arm if he's going to be able to withstand the rigors if he does play those last 2 games. And if he doesn't, I mean, you have to wonder who could be the quarterback. Could it be Keyshawn Thompson? I don't know. But that's going to be the million-dollar question for them going towards those 2 games. If Kevin says, you know what, let me rest up. Who cares where he finished? Let me get ready for the playoffs in mid-April.
Agreed. I'm him. If I'm him, I am resting up, because at the end of the day, does it really matter where they finish if you have a healthy Kevin Wyeth in the playoffs? So if I'm him, I'm resting. Maybe I bring in a Division 2 quarterback just to do it, or have Keyshawn throw like you said. But if I'm him, I'm resting. So we'll see what happens.
So Athletic Squad and FFN, the 2 bottom feeders of Division 1, they play each other this week, I believe. Who gets the last spot, and what is the key in this game for whoever wins this matchup?
I mean, I think that's obviously the game that is, in my opinion, going to decide which of them make the playoffs, because unfortunately for either team, and it's no disrespect to them, I don't see another win on either of their schedule, just the way the season has unfolded. Um, I'm not as familiar with ATH and those guys, so I'm going to take FFN because I have Jared as obviously a top level athlete and developing into a top quarterback. I have him with the win. I think the person at quarterback in that game that makes the least amount of mistakes is the one that's going to win. So give me Jared. I think he has more experience than whoever's throwing right now on the other team. And FFN has some ballers. They have that guy Justin Julian, who he better start looking out for some DMs for me because those are coming. That guy's an absolute beast. And yeah, just give me, I think, a little bit more experience, flag experience on FFN. So give me them for the win and them squeezing into the playoffs.
Well, that's it. FFN has only 2 more games left, and ATH has 4 games left. So there's a bit of runway, but again, you're right. That last schedule is not going to be easy for them. And I think for FFN, if they do win this game, if they get that quarterback play from the guy that you might be sliding your DMs in, whether it's Jared Taylor or Justin Julian Jr., they probably have a little bit more to work with going towards the final couple games of their season. Maroons, they start off 3-1. They've lost their last 3. They're 3-4. Are you surprised by their slide of late?
I'd say half surprised. I've watched a little bit of the Maroons. I'm starting to watch Chad Byers a little bit, but again, he took such a long break from flag that jumping right back in essentially to Division One winter. I know he played in the Fall Cup, but coming right into Division One winter, no matter how much you used to have played with your guys, when you take that much time off, you're not getting that chemistry right back.
Right.
It's going to take time. It could take a season or two. And when you're playing teams like All Stars and Braves and Flagmois that have been together forever, it's very difficult to win those games. You know, even a team like KGP, which is I believe who Maroons played on Saturday,
Yeah.
they've been together for so long, and Phil is such a savvy quarterback, and Quasi is such a. I'm not even sure Quasi was there,
No,
but
he was in Las Vegas
he was
having
in
up.
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
Bellagio, I
mean,
think.
it just shows that that whole team has been together for so long. The chemistry on offense and defense really shows. And to me, maybe it takes one more season because I know Chad is an amazing quarterback, and he has huge weapons on his team like Kevin La Liberté and Von Dram, like real studs. So I'm not terribly surprised, and give me one or two more seasons for them to keep developing the chemistry, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them at fighting for being towards the top of the division.
Yeah, they got blessed coming up their next game, and that's a big one because if they were to be blessed, they would be back in the 5-6 region, if not the top 4, perhaps. So that's a big one for Maroons coming in towards their final games of the season. We mentioned the Braves. They have 2 games in hand. You said that All Stars could very well fall out of top 3. Are the Braves a team that might not only get top 3, but maybe even top 2 going towards the final 4 games of their season?
You can't count them out. So to me, there's always an argument that anytime the Braves are playing, they're favored in the game, no matter what team they're playing.
Right.
So I think there's a few teams right now that seem to have separated themselves a little bit at the top, but the Braves would be that one other team that I wouldn't be surprised, like I think we talked about a few podcasts ago, if they run the table.
Sure.
So yeah, especially with this developing issue with Kevin, I see the Braves sneaking in and possibly taking over that all-star spot for the in the top 3.
Div 2, Skill Bees. Oh, you and I, we saw them play on Saturday night. And I think you said it before. They've lost in like 4 games by like 2 points or less. Are they just jinxed, or they just can't finish off games when it matters most?
It's really sick what's gone on with them this season. I mean, the Santomo brothers are a lethal pair. The way Nick throws the ball, the guy throws the ball 100 miles an hour. It's amazing, the arm talent, and his brother running amazing routes. And they have a few other guys. I'm not exactly sure their names. I know their faces. they're a very, very good team. So there's been a lot of, in my opinion, unlucky bounces that have happened their way. Are they jinxed? I mean, I'm not sure they're jinxed, but on the other hand, I do think they do know how to finish games. So it's a tough question to answer. I think there's been, like we said, a few bad bounces that have happened. Um, but that's not a team that I want to see in the playoffs. If I'm one of the top few teams and Skill Bees gets into the playoffs as one of the lower seeds, that is not a team I want to see. They're full of talent. They have a ton of flag experience and a few bounces, and they have 3 or 4 wins as opposed to 1 win. So be on the lookout for them. That's for sure.
So their last 3 losses have been by a combined total of 6 points, which is crazy.
Crazy.
But when you score 63 points, 9 times out of 10 you win that football game, and they lost that football game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess what you're getting at is maybe there's some defensive issues that need to be looked at, which I agree. But it's an offensive game. So you tell me they're going to score 63 points next time. I think, like you said, they're going to win, and I think they're the kind of team that could put up 50 every game. So they're dangerous. They're not to be taken lightly, and won't be surprised if they make the playoffs and upset someone early on.
I think they're 1-5-1 right now. They're 0-3 in games decided by 1 point or less.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the razor thin margin of what they have as well. Last question for you, Jeff. Well, 2 more questions for you, Jeff. I apologize. Hashtag NR, big win over Bless Up. How big of a morale booster is it for this team to get that win over Bless Up and now put themselves back into a top 5 conversation of Div 2?
It was a huge win, and they did it with Corey Woloski playing quarterback because Adam was not there. And I've been telling Corey for years, it's time to step in division, man. You're a stud. You're a quarterback that can start playing in the higher divisions, and he proved it yesterday. Because Bless Up is a very experienced team. It was a very close game. I believe Corey was perfect. I don't think he threw a pick, and
Right.
I think Steve trying to tie the game. I think took a shot and threw a pick at the end. But you look at that NR roster. That there are studs everywhere. You got both Jalen's, Kendall, obviously Kenny, just studs all over the place. And I'm not surprised with their record because it's again Division 2 is stacked and Adam hasn't been with the team for that long, so the chemistry isn't fully there. But it's another team that if I'm one of the top seeds, I don't want to see them in the playoffs. They got athletes, they have a premier quarterback, and they could turn it on any game.
Last question, Jeff. Div 2 right now, you have 5 teams at above 500 right now, and the rest are all below 500. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for Division 2?
It's funny. I once heard someone say that, ideally you want everyone in the division to be 5-5 because that shows extreme parity in the division.
Or bones?
Yeah, I think Pease said that once on a
Yeah.
podcast,
Classic
maybe.
Peas
But
line over there.
yeah, yeah. But what you're saying is interesting. What you're saying is interesting that we're basically looking at it that this division maybe is a little bit top heavy,
Yeah.
and those top teams are really taking care of business with a lot of the lower end teams. But I actually think it's a good thing. I'll tell you why. I think it's motivation for some of the people that are struggling right now to pick it up, fix what they're doing wrong, and have some real attitude and fire going into the playoffs. Because take my team for example, take Bless Up, take a bunch of the teams that I believe are underperforming this year. You don't want to see us in the playoffs because we're going to be angry with what happened this year and we're going to be looking to make a statement. So I think it's setting up for a really exciting playoffs. Division 2 is super deep, super stacked, and there's some exciting football to come.
Jeff, go enjoy the March Madness. I'll send you a picture of my setup on Thursday, Friday, and we'll see who has a better setup for
Well,
viewers.
tell me if you can see this. I'm turning my camera around. Can you see the two TVs?
I can see that. Yeah, that's a very nice setup you have over there.
Yeah. The
Very
second
nice.
one is not set up yet because there's no need, but
No,
there may
it
be a
will be for
small
Thursday though.
Yeah, there may be a small third one coming in Thursday to make it even a little bit better.
So my hint to you when I see my picture on Thursday, if not Friday, less is more, and I'll explain to you in the picture. I'll explain why. You'd be like, I see what he's saying. Less is more.
Looking forward to it.
All right, I'll see you May 4th, 5th, and May 5th for the finals. Can't wait for you to
You
be
know,
in the
I
building.
already so I have a few other guys that I have replacing me for the commentating those days. We're a little short on time, so I'll share it with you next week if I'm back on.
Yeah, we can
But
do our
the
top
list is
5 backups, but we all know in reality that you'll be there May 5th. Can't wait.
on the field. But yes, love you guys. I'll see y'all next week.
All right, take care, Jeff. Thanks so much,
Ciao.
brother. All right, Jeff Rosenblatt on with us as he's watching some March Madness with us. Nightingale, we got Brent Bakken on the on deck circle. I see. I know that's why I'm trying to team up here. You know, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. You see, it's it's the beauty of buying time. That's how you buy time, and then you get it set up here. You know. I know how to do it. But the thing is, no one's hearing you say this to me, right? So it's like I'm talking to myself, like a crazy man right now. Anyway, Brent Bach can be on with us here to talk some Div 6 with us. And now there he is. There he is. The immortal one, Brent Bakken, on with us.
Champ.
Oh, his volume's not on yet. We'll get that figured out. Oh, is your volume on now, Brent? Can we hear you? Oh, there you go, Brent. You know how to use the volume button on your thing, huh? There you go.
I was looking
all right,
man.
Brent. Welcome in. Welcome in there. I know you're running offside. I know you were crying about Chase Young leaving the Niners for the Saints.
Please.
Yeah, I have screenshots of what you said about Chase Young.
You guys are signing our trash. I'm surprised you guys didn't sign him.
I'm sure.
Charlie
we're smart.
Garner, Dana Stubblefield, Trent Brown. You like taking our scraps, so it makes sense. I'm surprised you guys didn't sign
went to
him.
the Patriots after you guys, so it's not really your scraps. Anyway,
he played for us at one time or another.
Yeah, and he was smart. He's smart, and he left your organization, realizing I'm not going to win anything with the Niners. So it's pretty much. There.
And then he begged you guys to trade him out of your hot garbage team to trade him to the Patriots, which kind of worked out at least initially for him, and then didn't work out afterwards.
I'm sorry.
In the preseason, no one cares. That's just Super Bowl.
Win, my friend. I
win,
my
in the preseason. I mean, that's great. That's great. But when we smoke you this preseason coming,
we beat you guys. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Continue on. Continue on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You let me know when you make the playoffs.
Div 6.
Yes, sir.
We're starting to see a pattern kind of develop here. Super Turbo Navettes, could they make it a 3-horse race with Pigeons and Meat Fiddlers for first place? And the Turbo Boys lost to Pigeons, but they did beat Fiddlers, I think it was, early this season as well.
Yeah, they lost 31-6, right, to the Pigeons.
Yeah.
Against the Meat Fiddlers. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Did they play? No, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they lost to the Fiddlers. I miswrote that on the script.
No, they won. They won. No, they won. So the Super Turbo
Navettes
won
that game, right.
30-18. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was back in week 6. I mean, listen, to answer your question, I mean, like, I want to say yeah, but I'm going to say no. I mean, look at the last couple games. I talked about it in my last article, right? They beat No Fly Zone 13-7. Then they lose to Jurassic Park Rangers this past, I think it was 2 Sundays ago, right? I mean, like, they have talent, not to say that they don't, the Super Turbo Navettes, but I mean, they should be beating Jurassic Park Rangers. They should be beating No Fly Zone. I actually had a chance to watch No Fly Zone last night. I'll get to that after if I have a chance. They should be beating those teams, No Fly Zone, by a lot more than 6 points, and they should be beating Jurassic Park Rangers, period, right? So they have a chance. Speaking to your point, they have a chance, right? I mean, they have Les Flag Daddies coming up, and the McGill swim team who's playing better ball as of late. Those are their next 2 opponents for the Super Turbo Navettes, and they finish off with Mutation. In a perfect world, they go 3-0. Do I expect them to do that? No, probably not. But they should at least go 2-1. Can they then? You're talking about make that race a little tighter there with the Meat Fiddlers and the Pigeons. I mean, I guess so. But do I have a lot of faith in them? No, not really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because Pigeons have all ball Royals and Nardogs coming up. Not really a Murderers Row.
Right? Exactly. And you know what? All ball last night. So I saw them against. I was scorekeeping the game last night against No Fly Zone. Man, I like all ball. I had seen them one time prior, but then they had a big injury last night. So Lukesh Prashar, either he broke his finger or he dislocated his finger. He was going for a ball. Another player was diving in. You know how that happens sometimes, and his hand got caught. His finger was kind of bent 2 ways. So he's, if not out for the season, at least out for the next game or two. I'd have to say the least for that guy. And that's a big blow because He was their best player last night. So to
Right.
put that in context, right? So they have so the Pigeons, like we're saying, right, with their final schedule coming up, the fact now that they take on, so looking at it right here, ball this coming Monday night, to not have that guy in the lineup is going to be huge. It's going to be a huge deficit that all ball is going to have to face. And you have to consider it. All balls already missing their regular starting quarterback, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but yeah, the regular starting quarterback's already out due to injury. I had a chance to talk to him last night. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name right now. Patel, right? He's out with a wrist injury. So I mean, those are two important guys on their team, obviously in Patel and Prashar, who are probably going to be out of the lineup or at the very least be limited if they have a chance to play.
Well, if they don't have
So
Vera
yeah,
and
the
Patel
Pigeons I think
playing,
have the
they're
easiest
they're
path to
done.
play.
I don't see this team going far without Vera and Patel playing. I mean,
Okay, so you know, I will say so. I saw Danny S4. He played last night at quarterback. I saw some decent things. His final numbers aren't great, but his scrambling ability and his ability to buy time to let his receivers get open is huge. I just think right now they're a little undermanned and obviously some of the injuries. But you're right. I don't think they're going to go too far, but I don't think they're exactly dead in the water just yet. But to answer your question, can the Super Turbo Navets catch up with the Pigeons or the Meatfielders? No, I don't think so.
so right
Especially with the
now,
schedule the Pigeons have.
in Div 6, which team are you concerned about that's leaking oil that might be creaking towards the finish line, whether they play in the Div 6 playoffs or the 6D playoffs?
That's a good question. So looking at it right now, so I was kind of going back and forth on this one a little bit, right? So like you have, I was gonna say at one point, so I'm just trying to refresh my screen right here. Um, I was looking at like a team like the Chamonix Chodes, right? Like that's one team who I don't want to say leaking oil, but like I mean, I'm looking around and it's like okay, who are the top teams that are for sure make the Div Six playoffs, right? And have a chance not just to make them, but make some noise, right? Like the Chamonix Chodes right now. I mean, they're 4-4. Can they squeeze in? I don't know.
They
They
have
got
a
to
good
catch the
quarterback
cheap
though.
spot.
They got a good quarterback,
They
Brown
do. Oh no,
Botazi.
I'm not saying that they don't. No, 100% they have a good quarterback. Matthew, I forget his last name. I'm just blanking. Matthew Botazzi, right?
Botazi.
He's a great
Yeah.
quarterback, right? He leads everybody with 31 TD passes, I should say. Pardon me. He's good, but I mean, you look at their record, right? They're a 500 team, and it's like as we head to crunch time now, the end of the regular season, are they going to be able to do enough to not just make the playoffs, but like to really make the playoffs and be able to make some noise once you're there, right? I look
Right.
at a team like Mutation again. It's another team, 4-4. They're kind of sitting in that mark, right? Because it's like they'll probably make the Div Six playoffs, but it's not a guarantee, right? It's not 100%. You have Jurassic Park Rangers, right? They're tied points wise with Mutations. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams who I'm concerned about right now. Even like the Cavaliers, the Rohan, the Royals. It's some teams have games in hand. Like speaking of Jurassic Park Rangers, they have a lot of they have about 2 games in hand on pretty much everybody. Are these guys? I'm not just looking to see who's going to make the playoffs. I understand what your question is, but I'm like, who can make the playoffs and really make a run? That's what I'm more concerned with. And there's a lot of teams who I'm just like, I don't know, 6B playoffs. How much faith do I have in a team like the Royals, the Chamonix Chotes, right? Mutation,
Right.
Jurassic Park Rangers, if they're able to squeeze in. How much faith do I have in teams like that? At the moment, not that much, right? But you never know. Once you get into the dance, anything could happen. But just say, even show me them TDs. I'm looking at them right now. Okay, so they're 3-2-1. They've only played 6 games, so luckily for them, they have a chance to really right the ship and come in on a hot streak. But I'm looking at them right now, right? They're a couple points out of first. Who do they have left on the schedule? They have Skull. That's a loss.
Yep.
Let's Speak Easy. That could be a loss as well. Towers FT is a team I thought would be a lot better. Unfortunately, they're not. And then they finish with Cavaliers or Rohan, right? So they finish with two. They finish with two teams who are really in the thick of everything in that mix with showing me them TDs. But it's like, how much confidence do I have in these teams? I don't know.
In Group B, you got Fire and Blood and Cheat Squad, who are right now at 5-2 and 5-3 respectively. Could they make a run towards Demons, if not Free Agent Squad for first place?
Ooh, it's a good question. I mean, I talked to one of my articles about even last time I was on the podcast with you guys. I mean, I talked about Fire and Blood. I like what I've seen out of this team. Again, they're 5-2, right? So again, they another one of those teams, right? They haven't played 8 games yet. Cheat Squad has, right? Um, I'm gonna side with Fire and Blood. I'm gonna say this predominantly because I like the aggressiveness of their defense. And like I said in one of my articles a few weeks ago, you can't an FPF, right? It's an offensive league. It is what it is. We all know that. You have some really skilled players in every division, one to all the way down to six D, women's co-ed. Some teams have that aggressive nature, and you've seen. Well, you're a former player yourself, right? And you've been around this even longer than I have. Some teams are just aggressive by nature. Not aggressive where you go over the line and commit stupid penalties, but it's aggressive in the way they play defense, aggressive in the way they play offense, the way they catch the ball, the way they make tackles. I think Fire and Blood has that. Not to say Cheat Squad doesn't, but I think Fire and Blood has that in abundance, and that's what they're going to need. I think once you get into the postseason, and they just have that grit. As does Skull, actually, I like Skull a lot. They have that grit, and that's not something you can necessarily teach. And I think that's going to be something that could carry a team like Fire and Blood once they get into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to play a Free Squad this Sunday, so we'll know right away if
It's a
they're
big
going to be in
game.
play for the 1 seed in the division or maybe be
Exactly,
a third place team.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
um, Skull, they're 7-0. I beg your pardon. Do they have any holes?
Uh, I want to say if they see again, they have that grit, they have that toughness. I've score kept a couple of their games earlier in the year. I want to say sorry. Oh,
No, go ahead.
I
I was
want to
just
say the
coughing.
only hole I yeah, okay, no. I want to say, I mean, look at their defense, right? I mean, there's definitely no holes there, right? They're one of the few teams that has let given up, pardon me, less than 100 points, right? So I mean, it is what it is. You can't take that away from them. I've written about their defense a couple of times in the articles. I think the only thing where they struggle defensively is with a lot of speed. I have seen them get burnt deep on the right side of their defense, not the left. I think the left side, they're capable of just locking things down for the most part. There's one guy I like at corner. I believe his name. I want to say Marc Andre Cote. No, Antoine Cote. I
Dumontier,
believe
Alex
that's
Dumontier, 7 INTs. And Midsam Al,
yeah,
5
yeah,
INTs
yeah,
and 1
yeah,
pick
yeah, yeah.
six.
Sorry, yeah, exactly, exactly. So I, I think him, yeah, even Vincent Hamel, like, yes, Anton Cote is a guy who I remember seeing a lot. Obviously, I did the Montier, like I said, they have a lot of guys who get their hands on the ball, on the ball, right? Even Simon Bastos. I like their aggressiveness, but you can get them sometimes with double moves. You like there's a hole in the middle of their defense, right? They're able to adjust, but if you're able to hit that and then make them adjust to you, that's where I think the difference comes in. But a lot of teams, a lot of quarterbacks sometimes in Div 6 aren't able to do that, right? Some quarterbacks want to go deep too often. I've talked about that a million times. That's Skull's specialty is taking away the deep ball. You have to use your speed over the middle and that little hole there between what would be a linebacker and the safety is, but not everyone's able to do that, and they don't give you much time.
Right.
But they are beatable. Their offense, I like. I mean, listen, I've seen Hugo play a lot. Hugo Stensland, the quarterback. I had no idea that he could really throw. I seen him a little bit. I know more as a center, obviously, but is he the most gifted quarterback? No, but what he's able to do is he's able to get the ball out of his hands quickly into his receivers, and they pick up a lot of yak yards, right? And that's going to be key. So when you're defense going against them, you have to be aggressive against those guys because if you're not, they'll make you pay. But then at the flip side, if you're too aggressive, those receivers will burn you with the double moves, right? They have a lot of size. If you can match them with size and speed, you have a chance. But if you're lacking in either department, they're going to kill you all day.
Right now, who has the edge for the quarterback of the year award?
Okay, that's a good question, man. So, so we talked about before, right? But Batazi, with Shamini Chotes, a couple of names jump out at me. Obviously, Tyler Stewart. I like his turnaround. He's a lot better than the player that I saw in the FPF Cup. My man Parnav Sharma from what do you do in Step Bros? He reached out to me the other day. We were just talking, chopping it up a little bit. But even other guys, right? I talked about in one of my articles, like Manny Bizoglass from the Meat Fiddlers. There's Nicholas Caterlos there from Fire and Blood. Max Gannett, a guy you and I know, Mo from Neil, who plays on that team. There's a lot of guys. I want to say right now, can I have two choices?
Yeah, you go.
Ask
Two
me.
choices.
Okay. Okay, so I want to say right now, oof, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. I'm gonna say though Max Gannett because 25 TDs, right? Only 4 INTs. He's completing 60% of the passes. So and that's big because you look at the leaderboard right now. The only players who are completing more passes than him right now are Manny Bizoglas there from the Meat Fiddlers, Nicholas Caterlos there from Fire and Blood, and that's about it. And Tyler Stewart right from the free agent squad. So I want to say Mascanet because his completion percentage is good. The TDs are there, but you also have to factor in the rushing TDs. He leads all rushers right with 314 yards in all of Div 6, as well as he averages 12 yards a carry almost, and he has 6 touchdowns, which leads all players in Div 6. So that has to account for something, right? The running and the throwing. And I want to say, other than him, I wanna yeah, say maybe even Parnav Sharma, right, from what he do in Step Bros, because he's a player who's getting better. 28 TDs, 7 INTs. His completion percentage is only 52%. I think that's where he's going to get dinged. A guy like him and a guy like Hugo Stetson we were just talking about. I think to win QB of the year, you should have at least a 58 to 60 completion percentage. Those guys don't qualify for that right now, but I mean, there's still time to get there. But if I have to choose somebody, I want to say him. Some people might be saying Matthew Batazzi because, again, he leads everybody with 31 TD passes, and he's a good choice. But I mean, I think once you get into those double-digit INTs, so a guy like him and Kyle Fulkerson from Salt and Pepper, you have to kind of take away a little bit from that. And not obviously not all TDs, not all INTs are equal, right? Some of them are receivers' fault and whatnot. But more importantly, look at Batazzi's remaining schedule. Free agent squad, like you talked about, right? Coming up this Saturday. And then they finish at the Stinger Dome on the 7th against Fire and Blood, which should be a great game. I'm not 100% sure Batazzi could lead his team to a victory over both of those squads. But more importantly, for this point of discussion, could rack up the touchdown passes. He's going to have to, I think, finish with 38 to 40 touchdown passes. Can he get there facing those two teams? I'm not so sure.
So, quick yes or no, if Botazzi or Kyle Fulkerson hit 40 touchdowns without throwing an INT the rest of the way, do they win the Quarterback of the Year award? Yes or no?
That's a good question. If they don't throw an INT the rest of the way, yes, because are you implying then the other players will? Or are you saying if no one throws any more INTs for the rest of the way?
Yeah, let's say they don't throw any more INTs, and they go 40 touchdowns each, and they finish with 11 and 12 INTs respectively.
Yeah, no. I understand what you're saying about them, but I'm talking about what are the other guys in the competition. Are they going to not throw any interceptions either?
Let's say they throw a couple more INTs, the guys below.
Okay. Well, if the other guys throw a couple more INTs, some of them will be in double digits at that point. Then yeah, I say for sure. Okay, so then if I had to pick somebody, then I pick Batazzi for sure, because he'd be leading in touchdown passes, and then at that point he wouldn't be in the top 2 in INTs. So yeah, then I would pick Batazzi for sure.
All right, last question, Brent. The biggest headline for Div 6 when you speak again next week will be what for this division?
Oof, good question. I gotta say, looking at it right now, okay, let's see. So I'll go with the schedule instead. Can Skull remain undefeated? They have shown me them TDs. I'm tempted. You know what, actually? It's gonna be. What's it going, actually? Skull has 2 games coming up this week. Show me them TDs, and then if it's what are you doing, Step Bros? One day after each other. So Saturday is the first game, Sunday is the second game. Skull is gonna lose one of those games. I think that's gonna be the headline, and I think Fire and Blood is gonna knock off Free Agent Squad. Those will be the 2 headlines, I think, as of next week.
Peasy will not talk to you after this.
I love you, Peas. I love you.
He won't talk to you. That's for sure.
Happen.
Brent, when's your next article coming up for Div 6 this week?
I got it out last week Saturday, so I'm looking to do the same thing. Try to get it out like Saturday afternoon. Yeah, that should be the best time. Saturday afternoon should be out for sure.
All right then, Brent. Thank you so much. Enjoy the week, and maybe Duke has some luck in their first round matchup against Vermont.
I mean, we're gonna beat Vermont. I mean, I don't know who you guys are playing yet, but I mean, I don't know. You guys kind of choked in the ACC against NC State. So, I mean,
I'm sorry, you guys lost them on Tuesday.
Listen.
I'm sorry,
we focus on March Madness, my friend.
And we smoked you guys this year, not once but twice.
I'm sorry. We have 8 more ACC titles than you guys. Number one. So you know
hey, ACC titles! Oh my goodness!
We're gonna ditch that. We're gonna ditch that worthless tournament and focus on March Madness, my friend.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
You guys shot the bed, but it's okay.
I'm sure you are. Maybe you guys will have fun in the NIT3 tournament. You know, you guys, St. John's.
Maybe you guys could beat Laval if you guys played it. Maybe. I'm not too sure
about
that.
We're good. We're good. We got Wagner
Sure.
Ham coming up. Don't worry about that. Take notes how to run a proper basketball organization.
Please, I'm sorry. How about my Knicks right now? Orange Blue Sky.
Oh yeah.
We beat Golden State last night. No OG Anunoby, my
Big
friend.
big win
Solid
over
win.
the
Solid
Warriors.
win. Hey,
Mighty
we're coming
tough
for
Golden
the
State
Cavs for third place, man. What about your Bulls? Are you guys in the play-in yet, or
We're
no?
fine, my friend. We're fine, my
Yeah,
friend.
that's what I
We're
thought,
killing
yeah,
off teams,
yeah.
my friend. Don't worry about that.
You guys are tanking forever. The Bulls, the Red Wings. You guys can't even tank properly. The
Don't worry about
Raiders,
us.
the
Don't worry about us.
Marlins. Who else?
Well, I could spend all day this insulting your teams, but it would be wasting my time.
My
I don't wanna-
teams win. I don't know about your teams. My teams made the playoffs. in
Really?
Team
You
league, my
guys
friend.
lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. You
We
guys choked
made
in the
Super
first
Bowl.
round to the Florida
The
Panthers.
Raiders didn't make the
The
Super
Atlanta
Bowl.
Braves,
Come on.
typical
The Red
choke
Wings
job.
didn't make the
Florida
playoffs.
State
The Marlins
loses to
didn't make the
Georgia.
playoffs.
So
The Bulls didn't
what's
make
there
the
to talk about?
playoffs.
You guys
What's
are
next?
heaping the trash.
What's
Heaping
next?
trash,
I
my
mean,
friend.
you're talking about a preseason game being your Super Bowl. We made the real Super Bowl. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
but I
you
mean,
guys
know.
made the Super Bowl, but you guys didn't win. Typical Niners.
But at least we made it. We put ourselves in a position. We had a chance, my friend. We had a chance.
Real chance.
This
Yeah.
season was done by like November, so simmer down.
Heads and
right?
tails. We'll take the ball first here, because we think we can, win.
Yes, because our defenses came from like an 11-play drive. Of course, listen,
yeah.
he should have shut up. I'm not a big Kyle
Professional
Shanahan
athletes.
fan.
Can't
He should have said
blame no
nothing
players.
about that. He should have said, listen, our defense came off of an 11-play series to finish regulation.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we elected to go on offense, which makes sense.
Sure.
I know it doesn't make any sense. You're not familiar with like playoff implications and stuff like that, and coin flips and overtime and that. You're not that. I mean, your biggest
All I
overtime game was that
know,
little
all I
piece
know
of
is
paper
that we
there.
beat you guys.
Against the Cowboys?
We beat you
In the
guys. We'll
preseason,
beat
the
you
game
guys
doesn't
in
matter.
preseason again.
All I know is we beat you last year in the regular season when it mattered most. Jared Stidham had the game of his life. You were at the edge of your seat there saying you're going to beat the Niners,
Yeah.
and we still came back and beat you. You're playing that violin for yourself, and you guys missed the playoffs again.
Oh yeah.
So you're bringing Christian Wilkins. Who else are you going to bring in to help you? You're bringing a quarterback there, Gardner Minshew. That's your answer.
Hey, you know
Who's
what?
bringing Phillip Rivers right
You know
now?
what? I'll say this about the Niners though. When you
Boom,
guys trade Brandon
Tyson.
Ayuk for Zay Jones and
simmer down,
Thomas
it's
Cruise
rumors, my
Carnival ship in Jacksonville,
down.
be my guest. Brent,
Simmer
thank you
down.
so much. We'll speak to you
Simmer
soon.
All right, be good, boys.
Later. That's Brent Bakken. Typical jargon from Brent as usual. Always talking this smack. Anyway, that'll do it for this week's episode here on Calling the Audible. I believe there's a show on Thursday. Nigel, is there a show on Thursday with Iggy, or what's going on for Thursday's show? I don't know. You tell me. We don't know if there's a show on Thursday. We'll find out. You'll find out. You'll find out one way or another. If it's not Iggy, someone will host it. I believe we're doing a super show next week. I think we're doing a big one next week. It's the end of the month, so we'll do one with Iggy and I and have some guests. But a big thank you to Brent Bakken for coming on, Jeff Rosenblatt, Laurie Willette, and Iggy from Toronto for coming on with us to talk about all the divisions. Don't forget about the articles that will come out this week. Spring season registration will open up very soon. Winter playoff schedule is out in terms of the skeleton of what dates they are. And again, we're almost down to the final few weeks of the season. So let's ball hard and get ready for playoffs because we're not far away, and we look forward to bringing you playoff coverage as well. On behalf of the Nightingale and yours truly, Mo Khan, wish you good night. Good night, Duke Blue Devils.